sermon are an open and inclusive congregation. Our members walk diverse paths to find meaning and purpose, but we are united in our belief in the interest in inherent worth and dignity of all, and by the responsibility to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. My name is Veronique Singerman. I have been a Unitarian since 2012. And we also have two key persons here today besides our Reverend Pat, of course. We have Teresa Woody, our musician, and Eddie Gunn, our harmonica player. And of course, our star, Pat Jobe, who is with us today. And this sermon here today is an auction item in which Natalie Heling, as high bidder, thank you, Natalie, chose the sermon topic, the afterlife. Pretty much a mystery for everyone. Pat suggests the stories of two women who had near but not final death experiences, who recount them in numerous YouTube recordings. They are a footnote to the reflection title in the order of service. We start our services and other activities by lighting a candle inside a chalice and speaking words that call us to that occasion. Please join me in saying today's chalice lighting words, which are in your order of service. Chalice to illuminate the world we seek. In our search for truth, may we be just. In our search for justice, may we be loving. And in loving, may we find peace. Opening words from our Reverend Pat.
Like Natalie, I'm so grateful for the response to Mike's accident last week, but we do have a lot of visitors in the house, and I want to clarify who Mike is and why we are so happy that he's been well taken care of. Mike Alec is our superb, golden guitar player, singer, songwriter, and he fell last Sunday out here on the sidewalk, and he broke his kneecap in half. When it was x-rayed, half of his kneecap was down his leg and the other half was up his leg. And he had surgery on Friday. The surgery was very successful and he is recovering nicely. Our opening words come from Mark Twain. He was once asked about the afterlife. And he said, "I'll take heaven for climate and hell for company." Twain also had a vivid dream once that his brother had passed and that his brother was in a local funeral home covered with red roses. His body was covered with red roses, and there was a white carnation in the middle of the red roses. The dream was so vivid for Twain that he thought it had actually happened. And so he got out of bed and he started walking toward the funeral home. And then he realized that it was a dream, and he turned around and he went back home. A couple of weeks went by, and his brother did die. And when he arrived at the funeral home, his brother was covered with red roses. And Twain wondered where the white carnation was. And just as he wondered, a woman came in and put the white carnation in the middle of the red roses. Twain did not write about this for over 30 years. Because he thought nobody would believe him.
Please stay comfortably seated as Teresa takes us with her music into a place of worship and contemplation.
This is Lacrimosa, one of the movements for choir and orchestra that are part of Mozart's Requiem, or Mass for the Dead.
That Mozart, that boy sure could write, couldn't he? Death or passing away is the ultimate booger man. I call it passing away because I don't believe people ultimately die, but the experience is no less hard, startling, unnerving, and interrupting to our daily routines of life. You've already heard it acknowledged that Natalie Heling bid on this sermon, and she asked me to talk about the afterlife with a question mark behind it. I hope everybody saw the question mark on the cover of the order of service. We all acknowledge that we don't know what happens when people pass away. Is it sleep without dreaming, as Plato called it? Is it the heavenly home described in so much Christian and Islamic and Nordic cultures? Is it the Sheol of the Jewish tradition, simply the place where dead people go? Is it the next step toward reincarnation? What can we know about what is to come after our bodies stop working, and does our consciousness survive? Some of us love to hear that we don't know anything. For many of us, ignorance is bliss. But during the past 60 or 70 years, a phenomenon has developed involving the stories of people brought back after their hearts stopped beating. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR, has brought back millions. People are revived on operating room tables and at the scenes of traffic accidents and drownings. A mass of literature is now available in books, magazine articles, and on YouTube. Among the UU favorites of these books is one by Anita Moorjani. UU's love her because she's not a Christian. She is a Hindu who grew up in Hong Kong and went to Catholic school. What could be more Unitarian than that, right? She came home from Catholic school one day and said, "Mama, the nuns tell me that I and our entire family are going to hell because we're not Christians." And her mother said, "Honey, we're Hindus. That doesn't apply to us." Anita Moorjani is fun. She's fun to listen to on YouTube. Among my personal favorites is Mary Helen Hensley, a native Virginian who now lives in Ireland and has a successful practice of chiropractics. Both of these women tell delightful stories of surviving temporary death. Mary Helen actually is here in the United States right now. She is helping her mother transition into hospice care. And I've sent her a Facebook message and encouraged her to watch this presentation on YouTube. And she wrote me back and she said, "When would you like me to be a guest speaker?" So we're going to work that out. I asked Sandy to put both their names in the order of service. If you go to YouTube, you'll find lots of fascinating material by each of them. Their stories are truly extraordinary. But do they prove an afterlife? Yes, for about 20 minutes. After about 20 minutes, there is no conclusive testimony because nobody can be brain dead for longer than 20 minutes. A few have been revived after 30 minutes and even fewer after 40 minutes, but not many. Near-death experiences now recorded and researched by the millions do not prove that our personalities, our consciousnesses, our awarenesses survive the physical shutdown of our bodies. The proof is just not there. What they really do prove to me and other believers is that there is a level of reality beyond our senses. To cynics and skeptics, they don't prove that any more than any other thing. The fact that two people can experience the same event and report contradicting descriptions is so common that it is barely worth mentioning. This is why eyewitness testimony is so suspect in trials. Let me say before I present my case that I will present nothing that will dissuade any of the cynics and skeptics in the room. If you're already cynical and skeptical, I'm not going to change your mind. And that has to be okay. That is a great part of what it means to be Unitarian Universalist. Natalie asked me to talk about this, so here is the case for my beliefs. One woman coded, that is to say, her heart stopped on an operating room table and she left her body. She traveled down 2 floors in the hospital and found her brother-in-law on the telephone with one of his golf buddies. And he was saying, I can't play today because my damn sister-in-law's up in the operating room, about to die. After she went back into her body and recovered from the surgery, she said to her brother-in-law, next time, just go play golf. The blood drained out of his face and he staggered just a little bit. A soldier on a battlefield training had his heart stop beating during an accident. He left his body. He traveled about a mile from where the accident occurred and found one of his fellow soldiers praying for him. When he recovered, got back into his body, he told his fellow soldier, thank you for your prayers. The blood drained out of his face and he staggered just a little bit. Now, these 2 stories are only the tip of the tiniest tip of the iceberg. There are so many stories. They go on and on. So what? We still don't know what happens after those 20 minutes. I have personally interviewed 8 people who have had these experiences. I'm working on a book in which a lot of these stories are told, but unlike some of the writers of some of the other books, I do not claim they are proof of heaven. That would not be very Unitarian of me, would it? I do believe these stories prove there is what Ed Boy and Marcus Borg say is more. There is a little something more going on in our lives. In fact, I believe we are not defined by our bodies. We are defined by something more. With all due respect to all the skeptics, cynics, and believers in the room, let me tell you what Neil Donald Walsh believes. And he claims his revelations come directly from the God of the universe, the big guy, the one from whom all blessings flow. His book, Conversations with God, was a huge bestseller in 1995 and beyond. He believes people experience in the afterlife exactly what they expect to experience. This brings a lot of credence to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's contention that most Christians on the other side are greeted by Jesus. Most Buddhists are greeted by Buddha. Most Muslims are greeted by Muhammad. And most Jewish comedians are greeted by the Marx Brothers. People who have no religion at all are greeted by an orb of accepting light. And it tells them their sins are forgiven and they did the best they could. I'm only speculating here, but maybe those who are genuinely confused and unsure of what may happen get a buffet line of choices. Sort of like the line you have at the A&W cafeteria. Maybe meatloaf, chocolate pie, English peas, and cornbread. The people who believe that there is nothing over there, in fact, who do not believe there is a there over which to go, probably are going to find that as well. My book, which may or may not ever be published, tells George Parker's story. George ran the Bank of America branch on the banks of the Tow River in Spruce Pine, North Carolina. He told me he had 2 trips to heaven, one that lasted 15 minutes and one that lasted 10 seconds. He loved being in heaven for 15 minutes. He met thousands of his ancestors, knew them all by name, was absolutely knocked out by the beauty of the place, and wanted to stay. His grandmother walked up to him and she said, "George, you can't stay. You got to go back." He said, "I don't want to go back, Grandma." She pointed down at the ground and the ground turned to glass. And he saw through the glass his wife and his daughter waiting for him at the hospital. He was in surgery for a brain aneurysm. And so he went back because his wife and his daughter needed him. The operation continued, and suddenly he was back in heaven for 10 seconds. During those 10 seconds, he met his brother, who had been a fighter pilot in the Korean War, and another guy who had also been a fighter pilot and who had died in combat through a mistake that his brother had made. But the two of them told him right quick, everything is resolved. We're all good with each other. We're glad to be here. Obviously, he came back into his body, recovered from the surgery, but went hog wild and pig crazy, trying to think what to do with these memories. Finally, he contacted his doctor, sat down in his doctor's office, and he said, "Doc, I got to ask you, while I was on the operating room table, did I die?" The doctor said, "George, we really don't like to talk about this, but yes, you did." He said, "You flatlined, and we were all working on your brain. We weren't paying attention to the heart monitor." He said, "You could have been gone for 15 minutes. And then George said, "Did I die again?" He said, "Yeah, but we got you back in 10 seconds that time." The evidence is strong that there is something over there. And finally, let me affirm that the name Universalist in our name is an old tradition that affirms that there is no hell, no eternal damnation, nothing like Dante's Divine Comedy or the lake of fire found in the Christian texts. It ain't true. Most Universalist scholars believe that 3rd and 4th century bishops concocted hell as a powerful tool to recruit members in the us versus them world of converting the unbelievers and raising money. I'm going to close with one final image. Speaking of raising money. In Greenville, South Carolina, we had a Buddhist in our congregation who was in charge of the annual pledge drive. He created one of those posters on the wall. It's a thermometer. And as the pledge drive went along, the colors would rise in the thermometer until you got to the top where he had attached a bell. And the bell was to be rung when the pledge drive was complete. And next to the bell, he wrote, "Ring the bell or go to hell." Now let's talk about it. What do y'all want to have to say about the afterlife? And then Eddie and Teresa and I are going to give you a little music. Come on, Veronique. You can.
If you intend to speak, please come up front and speak into the microphone. And there may be several people, so please wait in line here to kind of accelerate the motion of discussing Pat's reflection here.
Natalie, are you happy with your bid in the auction?
I am. And that's one of the things I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I very much appreciated hearing your ideas. I personally don't think that there's anything over there, but I would love, and I've told you this before, I'm hoping that when I cross that threshold, whatever it is, I'm going to get some answers about why we're here. You know, when I look at the universe and think that there are millions of stars and planets and we're the only little things that are surviving that look like us, I just can't get my mind around that. I can't get my mind around the fact that the universe never ends. I mean, I just can't do that. I don't get it. Anyway, that's what I'm looking for next, is answers.
So I cleared nothing up today.
Well,
Yes.
it was fun.
Good. I'm glad it was fun.
I was honored to be with my father when he passed away. He was nearly 93. He believed that when he died, that was it, all done, nothing. My take on it is that he left a legacy, and his legacy was he was an artist, and the family had many paintings of his and his actual family, children and grandchildren. And I think that was his legacy. That was how he lived on in our lives and all the people who he touched throughout his life, doing all the things he did. And I don't know if there's anything else, but that makes me feel good that he's still with us in that way.
Sure. Hang on just a second. There's a wonderful joke about the Unitarian who goes into the afterlife, and he or she is walking down this pathway and sees a sign. One sign points to heaven, the other sign points to a discussion on heaven.
I'm Susan, and I'm just passing on a secondhand story. My father-in-law was in the hospital and dying, and he was not a believer in anything. And the story came back to me that he had some sort of vision of that tunnel and that walking in the light. And he came back and told them about it and before he passed.
And did he say, I still don't believe there's anything other than it?
I don't know whether he really had much conversation about it, but
Straighten us out, man.
Yeah, no, I won't. My mother flatlined. She had a heart attack, and I don't know where she was, in the ER, I guess. And so afterwards, they brought her back, brought her upstairs, and I said, "What happened? What did you go? Did you see the light? Anything like that?" And she's like me, a non-believer, and she said, "Gee, I was dreaming, and I could see what they were doing to get me back." That's all I know.
You're mentioning that she could see what they are doing. Several studies have been done of people who have survived these experiences, and they're asked to describe what is going on in the operating room, where the equipment is sitting, where the doctors are standing, where the other people in the room are standing. And the people who have these outer body experiences can give a more accurate description of the operating room than the people who are in the operating room.
I don't know. I don't have an answer, of course. What I want to say is I have no interest in going to heaven. It is going to be so crowded, and I do not like crowds. A second thing is that I will have lived my life. I have no interest in living forever. So my hope is that I will be reincarnated as a vulture, because I really admire them. They clean up the earth, and they are just gorgeous animals. That would make me happy.
Anybody else? Okay, Lynn.
That's called frontal migration. That's not
Get that microphone down.
this mic.
No, that.
This mic. I've had 2 times in my life when I lost oxygen long enough to pass out, and the first was when I was 4 years old, and my father decided that he would put a rope around my neck and hang me. And he did. My aunt happened to come in at the time after I'd been there for just a short time, and she found me. And they got me to the hospital, but they were worried that I would have brain damage. Maybe that was how it began. Who knows? but I heard as I remember people getting me down and getting me into an ambulance, and I thought in my kid mind, well, this is it. It's time to go. And I had no sooner thought that until I heard countless voices speaking in different dialects, speaking in different languages, although I could understand it. But everybody was basically saying, no, some were kind of saying, nope, sorry, you got a lot more to go. So you're not going anywhere. But I heard all this and I realized it. And when I woke up, they did not detect any signs of brain damage. So, well, they're still thinking about that. But the people who were on site. Now, the second time I was 13, I was dying of whooping cough. And I had been in the hospital, but was home. And I had a serious attack in the middle of the night. This was in Asheville. It was in March. It was snowing. It was very cold. And with whooping cough, after a while, you simply cannot breathe. It's as if all your lungs have just turned to concrete. You can't breathe in, you can't breathe out. And my mother, my grandmother, and the same aunt who had saved me in Florida many years before, they were there. And they dragged me out onto a porch and kind of flung me over the rail. And they were doing everything they could. And then I realized, okay, maybe I was wrong, but I was just 4, but this has got to be it. I can't breathe anymore. This has got to be it. And the same, not maybe the same voices, but a similar way. And a lot of these were speaking in, old mountain dialect. And they were saying kind of the same thing. No, it might be easy to go right now. It would be, but no, there's a lot more yet to be done. And my aunt picked me up by the hair of the head, and she pulled me up off of the rail. Snow's falling in my face. My grandmother threw a half of a jar of camphor. Pat probably knows what camphor is. Camphor was a concoction people used to keep if you were fainting or if you had bruises. And she threw that in my face. At the same time, my mother, who was only like 5'2" and 100 pounds, came up with the strength to hit me in the back of the back with the biggest, blow. And suddenly I was able to breathe. Wow. So twice now, somebody has said, nah, you got to go back. And I profoundly believe in life after death. It's rooted not so much in the fact of what I've just told you, but in the fact that I believe in reincarnation, and I have since I was first conscious as a very young child. And I believe that when you first cross over, you will be met with your family, your ancestors. And I do believe, as Pat said, that to a degree what you expected you would see, you will see. If you are a Christian, you may be met by whom you think is Jesus, but I think your ancestors are all waiting there for you. And one reason that I think this, which will be unpopular, but I want to say it, is I believe that there are many people who have mediumship abilities and are able to communicate with some of those who are on the other side. And I'm fortunate to know a couple of those people and have gotten messages from family members. And so bottom line, I have no fear of death. And I don't think that anyone should spend any of their energy on fearing death. It's a natural part of life, and it will come to us all. Yes, ma'am.
When is your book coming out?
Probably about 3 years after Pat's. Anyway,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. So now I invite you to deeply listen as our 3 musicians bring us into a time of contemplation.
Okay, we are going to do this song. The 3 of us are going to do this song first for the response to the message. And then during the offertory, we're all going to sing. So the words are in your in your order of service. But if you can, refrain from singing with us this time, and then we'll. Is that where you're going to be? Okay.
Wherever you want.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can be over there. This is Joan Baez's version of Will the Circle Be Unbroken, and it is not the traditional song. There's a tide that binds all creatures, and it's like silver strand. It crosses every ocean, and it reaches every land. Will the circle be unbroken? By and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better life awaiting if we try, Lord, if we try. Take it in. Therese? Circle be unbroken, by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better life awaiting if we try, Lord, if we try.
This fellowship is important to us all. The contributions we make today allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and to reach out to our community, both nearby and in the larger world. Thus, in a specific way, your giving affirms our commitment to each other and to the community. And may I urge the viewers at home to switch briefly to the main page of our website and just hit the donate button to join with the in-person members.
Okay, now everybody sing. There's a tide that binds all creatures, and it's like silver strand. Crosses every ocean, and it reaches every land. With the circle be unbroken, by my Lord, by and by. There's a better life awaiting if we try, Lord, if we try. And the circle will be endless as we travel hand in hand. Become one family circle in a peaceful promised land. Circle be unbroken, by my Lord, by and by. There's a better life awaiting if we try, Lord, if we
With grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. We are also grateful to all the people who make possible our Sunday services, all our various community activities, and presenting us to the outside world via newsletter and YouTube, and our new website. And that includes everyone who cheers us on by being in these chairs today or in their even more comfortable ones at home. Please, sorry. Absolutely. Sure.
Okay. I'm Susan. I've been roped into website updating. We have a new website. We're looking for people to take a look at the new website, to check the links, to give us comments, to give us feedback. You saw me with my phone being obnoxious today. I'm trying to populate the website with pictures of our congregation. We have unfortunately had to fill it with some stock photos, but we're trying to get it filled with people that are actually part of our congregation. So please go to the new website, check all the links, be really, intrusive into the different links and see if they work, because we really need the feedback. I'm also looking to create a page with events that would talk about, say, our Pride Parade, our auction, our music concerts, any particular event that you might have pictures from. If you could get them to me or to Karen or to anybody on the board for that matter, we'd love to have pictures of those so we can say, look, here's something, we did an auction. We were in the Pride Parade. We had this musical gathering. So anything that you can think of that might be a photograph representative of one of the events you did, the bird house painting or one of the meals or something that represents what we do as a group would be great. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Send it to you.
Could send it to me or to Karen or anybody. There are contacts on the website. We need to test our contacts. So I'm not a contact. Karen is admin. So you could send them to admin, or you could get my email address after this service and I can give that to you. Email.
Thank you, Susan. Yes. Okay, if you look at your order of service, you will see the announcements, social suppers, to which everyone, including guests and resident speakers, and everyone in this room is invited.
We're going to go to Crafty Burger and Cornelius right over the bridge.
Crafty Burger in Cornelius. The Tuesday movie, Sketch at 1:40 at Birkdale. The animal ministry builds and fully furnishes, as Jim was saying earlier, fully furnishes fenced enclosures for dogs that would otherwise be tied or chained outdoors all the time. Yesterday's build for Chaos and Burger was a great success. The next build is Saturday, August 30 at 9 a.m. in Lincolnton. Volunteers are always welcome. No experience or special tools are needed. Check the Facebook page or give Claudia a call for more information, or talk to Jim right here. Jim right here. This Jim. Okay, sorry. Yes, of course. Okay, our closing song is going to be 1064 Blue Boat Home in our teal hymnal.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Our closing words come from three different sources. One is Woody Allen. He said, I keep wondering about the afterlife. Can they break a 20? Some guy named Jake Matthews said, why fear death? And I loved what you had to say about that, Lynn. Why fear death? I mean, he said, it's just another adventure, like assembling IKEA furniture. Yeah. And I can't find a source for this one, but I've heard it and I love it. Live your life with such joy, such reckless abandon, such zeal for life that even the guy who runs the funeral home will be sad to see you go.
We close our service today by extinguish the light in the chalice and saying together the words in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Please stay around, socialize, especially the newcomers.
That's right.
In the lobby so that we can.
Thank you, Sam.
Wait.
Hold it, hold it. Thank you. You need to come here sometime and do this. Well, thank you.